the quiz. So what I realized as I began to grade these was that you guys didn't realize what this means. This means the restrictions need to be listed. And the only restriction on this is that x cannot be -5. Because if x was -5, in this case, then you would be dividing by 0. And you may not divide by 0. And that was a 2. Okay, number 2. Take a look at number 2, and the directions are the same. What must be excluded from the domain? So in order to figure this out, you need to factor the bottom. And factors of 48 are 6 and 8. 6 times 8 is 48, and 6 plus 8 is 14. So this is how you would factor this. And this means that some of you actually worked this out, and that wasn't necessary on this one. But what was necessary is that you tell me that x could not be 6 or 8. And so we come to number 3. In question number 3, it says that you have to simplify and find all the numbers excluded from the domain. So in this one, we have to factor. So x squared plus 11 plus 30 factors into x plus 5 and x plus 6. And the bottom factors into x plus 9 and x plus 6. Now before you cancel, you need to give the restrictions, because after you cancel, you've lost a couple of the restrictions. So x cannot be -9 and -6. And now I'm ready to take out my 1s. This is 1, so you can cancel that. And so my answer is x plus 5 over x plus 9. Okay, moving on to number 4. You're going to be multiplying here. And remember, multiplying in this is a little misleading, because what you really want to do is factor. So 2 goes into both 6 and 2, so 2 times 3x minus 1. And this one is already factored, so we'll just rewrite it. And the bottom is 2 times x plus 1, and 7 times 3x minus 1. The common factors for these would be 7. 7 times 3x is 21, and 7 times -1 is -7. So this is the point where I want my restrictions listed. So this part can't be equal to 0. So when x is -1, the denominator is 0, and this cannot be equal to 0. So 3x equals 1, or x equals 1/3. So there are my restrictions. If x is either of these numbers, then the bottom is 0, and that would be dividing by 0. So x cannot be -1 or 1/3. Now I'm ready to cancel out my 1s. So this cancels with this, and this cancels with this. The 2's cancel. And this is a little misleading. Some people think the answer is 7, but when you cancel out all of these, you get 1s for them. And so there is a 1 on the top and a 7 on the bottom. The answer to that is 1/7. Okay, moving on to number 5. On question 5, the directions are still the same. It says we're supposed to simplify and find all that must be excluded from the domain. So even though it says multiply, we are going to factor. And this one factors into x plus 7 and x plus 5. And on the bottom is x plus 9 times x plus 5. And for the one on the left, it's x times x plus 9 over x plus 7 and x minus 4. Because the plus 7 and the minus 4 add to give me 3. So I'm at the point now where I have to give the exclusions. Again, you want to do that before you cancel. So x cannot be -9, -5, positive 4, and -7. So let's do the -7 and 4. I know those are a little out of order. But we'll get over that. So that cancels with that. That cancels with that. The x plus 9's cancel. And so what we're left with is x over x minus 4. Okay, continuing down, number 6. Let's take a look at number 6. We're going to factor the top. So it is x squared, x minus 3 and x minus 3. And the bottom factors into 11 times x minus 3. And we're going to multiply this because division is multiplying by the reciprocal. 132 over 12 times x minus 3. And I really should have talked about this before we flipped, multiplying by the reciprocal. But we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the second one. So we really needed to check to make sure that this numerator, denominator, would never be 0, and that's okay. But now we need to talk about the restrictions before we do any canceling. After we've multiplied by the reciprocal, x cannot be 3. And so now I think we're ready to do some canceling. X minus 3 over x minus 3 and x minus 3 over x minus 3. And 12 times 11 is 132, and 11 and 11. So this is actually an answer of 1. Okay, so for question number 7, this is adding now. So we have to find a common denominator, and this denominator is common. So we really just need to put these two together. So it is x squared minus 7x plus 12, and the denominator is x minus 4. So here again, we need to take a look at the restrictions. X cannot be 4. If x was 4, we would be dividing by 0. And now we need to simplify this. As we simplify this, this is x minus 3 times x minus 4 over x minus 4, and the x minus 4's cancel, and so the answer is x minus 3. Number 8 almost is a common denominator, but not quite. So if I factor a -1 from either the first one or the second one, I'm going to have a common denominator. So I'm going to keep the second one. And I'm going to factor out a -1 from the bottom. So this is going to be -8 plus x. And what I realize is that if I factor out this -1 here, I can kind of move it to the top. So this becomes 1 over x minus 8 and minus -11 over, and this is really the same thing as x plus 8. And so now my denominators are the same, and plus negative makes plus. So 1 plus 11 is 12, and 1 is 12 over x minus 8, and x cannot be 8. And I get 12 over x minus 8. And don't be tempted to cancel the 12 and the 8 because you can't cancel when there is adding or subtracting on the bottom. Finally, number 9. These don't have the same denominator, so we're going to start by factoring x plus 8. This factors into x plus 3 and x plus 5. And this one factors into x plus 5, x minus 2. And so what we're thinking of is the least common denominator. So what is the least common denominator? As we take a look at that, the least common denominator, since these two share the multiple x plus 5, we only need to write that once. And then we need the other factors. So I need the x plus 3 and the x minus 2. And so the common denominator then is that. And so we've taken this shortcut now. You can do LCD and realize that it's the same thing. But the bottom line is we need to multiply this fraction by x minus 2 over x minus 2. And we need to multiply this fraction times x plus 3 over x plus 3. And so you have to FOIL these. So x squared and plus 8x minus 2x is plus 6x. And 8 times 2 is 16. And so you get x squared plus 6x minus 16, and to FOIL these, you get 5x squared, and 5x times 3x is 15, and 7 times, so that's a plus 22x in the middle there, and then 7 times 3 is 21. So as we take a look at this one now, collecting like terms of squared there, you get 6x squared plus 28x plus 5 over the LCD. Now here's the time when we have to come up with our restrictions. X cannot be negative 5, negative 3, or 2. And then we're going to see if we can factor this. 6 times 5 is 30, so factors of 30 that add or subtract to give me 28. So I'm checking out 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, and 5 and 6. And none of those factors will add to give me 28. So at this point, I can say that my answer is complete. And it is 6x squared plus 28x plus 5 all over x plus 3, x plus 5, x minus 2. Hopefully this video has helped you to prepare better for the upcoming test.